Now, through my experience over the years, I've come to the conclusion that there are three different types of people, just in general, when it comes to working, but in law enforcement in particular. All right. There's the person, the officer, that wants to do the job correctly. They want to comply with the rules and regulations. They want to live up to their oath and they want to do the job right. That is the prototype officer or person that you want to work with and that you want to take the job as law enforcement, right? And then you have the officer or the person that is soft, that feels like the rules are too extreme, that they're too harsh, or the person is not is so lazy and doesn't want to go through the effort to actually enforce the rules the way they're supposed to be enforced, so they're looking for shortcuts. So when they do a search, they don't really do a search, they just go through the motions just to make it look like they're doing the search. They don't find anything because they're not looking for anything. They just want to go through the motions because this is what they're supposed to do. When they're supposed to discipline the inmates, they figure out how not to do that either. When inmates want to do something that they're not supposed to do, they'll say, well, it's okay, just go ahead. As long as the captain doesn't find out, then it's cool with me, right? That's one officer that's soft. So let's talk about the first officer that I described. Let's call him Officer Correct. You have the Officer Correct that wants to do everything right, and then you got Officer Soft, who just doesn't have the wherewithal to actually enforce the rules, whether he feels they're not just or whether he's just too scared or too soft to actually do the job. You got that type of officer. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have the officer that's gung-ho. You got the officer that is just excessive and that's extreme with what he does. He is abusive. He just wants to enforce the law so bad to the letter, and he may think that the law is too soft, and he's going to enact his own type of rules and regulations. And because he has the authority, he wants to overdo it. He wants to be abusive. He wants to be excessive. So you have these three types of people. You have the prototype officer, the officer correct, then you have the officer soft, and then you got the officer gung-ho. So you'll see these types of people come into correction or any law enforcement for that matter. And in a controlled environment like a jail, that is sort of like it's sort of like a microcosm of the real world. You'll see these things play out. You'll see these personalities come. And the only thing that keeps these personalities in check is a strong administration. If you have a strong warden that has a strong team that are watching everybody, and everybody knows that they're watching everybody, then officers who would usually be soft will get better. They will say that, hey, I don't want to be singled out. I don't want to get written up. I don't want to get suspended. I don't want to lose my job. So I'm going to do the right thing. Then when you have the officer that's gung-ho, that's too over the top with his, then that officer will see the handwriting on the wall and see that the administration is not going to go for that. So that'll bring that officer in line. And then you already have the officer that wants to do the right thing. So you'll have a group of officers, for whatever reason and for whatever motivation, will comply and do the right thing. And their normal dispositions won't matter because you have an administration that's there to police everybody and make sure they do the right thing and dole out punishment for those who don't. You know what I mean? So when you have a weak administration, then you have more problems because people just feel like they can be themselves pretty much and just do what they want to do and get away with it. So you'll have the people that bring in the contraband. You'll have the guy who's abusive and slapping people up and beating people up and just doing stuff that they're not supposed to be doing on the other end of the spectrum. But when you have an administration that knows what they're doing and has experience, they can temper all of those personalities and create a force that is there for good and can get the job done. And a lot of times I review dysfunctional correctional systems, and this is what I'm talking about. It's not just one officer, it's how the administration is running. What are they seeing? What are they doing? You know what I mean? And when you have an administration that is running properly, the inmates know it too. The inmates know that, hey, I can't I can't mess up because they're watching me. The officers that are here, they're under pressure to make sure that we do the right thing. So we're going to catch it if we don't. You know what I mean? But when you don't have that, anything can happen. When I was working on Rikers Island, we had an officer that was bringing in razor blades. You know, you can buy a box of razor blades, and he was selling the straight razors for like $25, I think it was, to the inmates. And it's making it more dangerous for the inmates, making it more dangerous for the officers, but he didn't care because he was getting paid. And he got caught and he went to prison. But you got to have an administration that's on top of everything. You got to have, you can trust the officers, but you got to verify everything. You can't just go on blind trust. And you got to watch everybody, and we got to watch each other to make sure we're doing the right thing. And that's what makes a good jail, and that's what makes the system work properly. So I just want to thank you for stopping by and checking me out. Hopefully you liked the video, and maybe you'll share it. And until next time, as always, peace and stay safe.